은지야, you ready?
언니, I'm ready.
Okay.
응답하라 여친. Quote to the in to the 실.
Pak to the kyung to the chu. We're just adding shit now. Pop, pop.
Pyong pyong.
Not if I shoot you first. I'm sorry. Okay, now it got violent for no reason.
Whoa.
Speaking of violence for no reason, let's talk about what our husbands say and do that offends us.
Oh my gosh, that's loaded.
It can be funny, it can be deep, whatever you want it to be. I want you to share with me.
I have to think about it. So
okay,
you go
let
first.
me share with you because this is why I came loaded. Because I was ready to talk
Something
about it.
happened on your drive.
Yeah,
here.
I was like, I want to. Okay, so we were looking at old photos, and one of them that popped up was when we were in Hawaii. And when I'm in Hawaii, we do like I think this one actually was when we were in Hawaii during COVID, and we were there like for 6 months. And on the island, you just minimalize, right? So I didn't have any lash extensions. And he came across this one photo of me, and he goes, "Whoa, is that what you look like?"
This is after the fact. I mean, he didn't say that in real time.
Well, I was like, babe, look at this photo. I look like very what do you call that? What, Blue Crush? Have you seen that movie? The surfers.
No,
There, it was a movie in the early 2000s.
I've heard of
Kate
it.
Moss was like a beach surfer girl.
Uh-huh.
I think, and she looked very like, no makeup, just sun-kissed.
natural.
Yeah, all
Yes.
natural. And I was like, oh my gosh, you look like I could be a surfer. And then this bitch said, "Oh, what's with your eyes? Is that what you look like?" And I was so caught off guard. I said, "Sir, you have just cemented a lifetime of lash extensions. You are paying for these for your life. And these are not cheap because I get volume, but that's what we're going to do." I was so pissed.
And you didn't always have lash extensions when you were with him, right?
Or good majority of my life I did not.
Yeah.
But now he's so used to these that he cannot. He was like, "Well, your face has changed." What? Tell me more. And he goes, "No, I'd rather not. You're."
That was the point he starts backpedaling.
He's like, "I'm gonna stop here."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "If you know
Good
better."
idea.
Yeah. So that's one. Another one. This annoys me, and is TMI, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. He'll grab my belly fat and be like, "Beauty." which is so fucking offensive. But if you think about it, okay, if I had
like
an ass,
straight on, or like giving you a back hug
and
just give you like a little loving squeeze.
Yes, I hate it. Also, this is like the area that I hate the most. It's where it's when it's fat collection. But you know what sucks? If you think about it, boobs and ass.
Yeah.
They're assets to have, literally assets to have, right? And they're just fat tissue. If I could just transfer this into boobs or ass,
a little bit here,
I would love it.
There, I know.
And if he grabbed my boobs or ass, I'd be like,
don't you wish like you could just like squeeze,
all the time,
like those fidget toys that my kids have.
Jade roller my fat into my boob.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
I feel like there's a Korean procedure that can do that, or like roll, roll and smooth out your cellulite.
Don't they? Isn't that what tummy tucks do? They take out the belly fat.
Yes, but that's like invasive and surgical, right? But that's
the only reason. Yeah. That's the only reason that I know I'm not as vain, because I prioritize pain level, and I'm like, no amount of beauty. If it sounds painful, I'm not gonna put myself through it. I had kids, and that was not something I wanted to put my body through. But okay. Birth of life is important, I guess.
Well, the way I think about it is, if you were to ever go under for something, do it for your health, or do it for yourself.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, if I do it for myself, it really the result. It's like I'm gonna be the only one that's satisfied with it, and I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay letting that.
And
go.
It's not like I'm out here trying to wear crop tops or anything, like, and
crop tops are so uncomfortable. I tried on like a little it looked really cute on my mom influencer friend that was wearing it.
I thought you were saying it looked really cute on my mom.
No.
Really?
But on my mom influencer friend. So I ordered it, and it's just like, I feel like, do you remember Cinderella? Do you remember?
You mean
do you remember
Brandy?
Gus? No, Cinderella, the Disney animated movie Cinderella.
Okay.
And she has all her mice friends.
Yes.
And she makes little clothes for them, and she has
the
chubby one, Gus. She puts a shirt on him, and then it goes whoop, and then his belly. That's what I felt like in the crop top. It was so tight.
That's so specific.
And I just, I was just wearing it around the house to decide, am I going to keep this? And when I took it off, I mean, even taking it off was so uncomfortable. I'm like, it's going straight into the packaging and going back.
And that was not our era, was it? Crop tops? I feel like it wasn't. Ours was the low-waisted pants.
Yeah, well, crop top and low-waisted. It was like double whammy. Like the Britney Spears era. Okay, with like the hip huggers and like the crop,
but
the
most
t-shirts,
people
baby
didn't
tees.
do both. They just did the low-waisted pants.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. But now it's the crop top era.
Yes.
And they do it with high-waisted pants, at least, I think, most of them. But
which
I
makes
can't
it better.
do it. Yes,
makes it better. But when you have
doable.
the mom paunch, it's like the
Fupa?
there's nothing to cover it. You know what I mean? It's like the crop top, and then and then you can still see the little paunch. So.
I was at this tennis and wine camp, and this lady was eating a muffin, and she missed the bite, and it fell all over her. So her friends were like, "Oh, nickname for you. We're gonna call you Muffin Top." And she was like horrified. She's like, "No, that will not be what I get associated with." She's like, they were like, "No, it's because you spilled the muffin on your top." They're like,
but
no.
imagine having to explain that every time.
It's like that. No. Nobody thinks what you think.
No one.
Absolutely not. But what's interesting is that just we think it's bad. I mean, okay. Health-wise, it's the worst place to have fat on your body, for particularly for women. And so I do worry about that because my fat collects all here. Anytime I gain weight, it goes straight there, and it's related to heart disease. So I'm a very health-conscious person, and I care about that. But as far as, if you think about it, if it was on my ass or on my boobs, if I got a double B boobs out of it. See, I'm not even thinking big.
Right.
Because I'm like inverted A. When I think big, it's double B. But like, if it was there, I'd be a much happier person.
It's so unfair. It's like the fat in those places. It's like that's what you're gonna get and live with. I
know, but if it went to my ass and I had some J-Lo booty, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But it sits here. But my husband's happy. Whatever. But it's not about him. It's about me.
My kids love that too, right? It's like the thing they say is you're just so squishy, mommy. It's so soft. And
you're a squishmallow.
At first it made me bristle. But they mean that as a loving.
Yeah, you're
they
a squishmallow.
Just love that so much. You're so squishy, and
I think my kids have said that
it's like really kind of retraining your mind.
And the fact that for your kids, your husband, it's a source of comfort. For me, it's the source for comfort food.
And well, whatever like body insecurities I have, I don't ever want to pass that on to my kids. So I try not to react to or have them hear me complain about my body or make any comments about their body. And and in that sense I feel that I'm kind of retraining my
own self-awareness.
Exactly. And telling myself like it's all right, like I accept what I see, I accept
which is not what we get told in our Asian culture. Anytime you go to a party, 살쪘네?
Anything. And it's you gained weight can be good or bad. It's like it's always like
it's always bad. What do you mean
a little
good?
Dick. Well, because it's like, 요즘 편한가 봐. You must be so happy these days. 살쪘네?
Okay, Jane,
because
that's still bad.
It is. My point being,
it's disguised like it's a backhanded slap in the front of the face.
I know, and it's like, why?
Who said that to you? Have you ever had that said that?
Absolutely.
Who? Name names.
Church moms, church ajumas, ladies.
This is why I don't go to church.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I left God. No, God, I didn't leave you. Hallelujah, amen. 감사합니다 주요. 망극하옵니다. By the way, I don't go to church, but you know I'm spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in God. I just fucking hate church people.
I know.
I'm sorry. You go to church.
No, I mean, I go to church now. I don't go to Korean church, but this is like the I grew up in a Korean immigrant church. As did I.
Yeah.
Right? And it was your body, your appearance was always could be commented on.
Yeah.
Always. And it was the moms and the dads.
Ugh.
I remember the first maybe winter break after my first quarter at college. And I had been living in the dorms. Mm-hmm. I gained some weight because, we're eating all the time and eating late at night. And then just all the comments from the men about, you must be eating well at college. Like, I can really see it. Like, 대학생이네. Oh, you're a college student now.
Mm-hmm.
It
귀여워졌다.
was incredibly offensive, incredibly disgusting. But I had no
How
way
old were you?
to. I was 18. It made me feel terrible about myself, but I just thought this is just what people do, and this is what
Korean
I have
people
to
do.
Take.
Oh, 짜증.
I know. It's terrible.
Oh, my God.
Terrible.
I remember my mom when I came across, like, a younger photo of myself. I was like, because when you're younger, you take it for granted. I mean, it's different. Fat hits different when you hit over... Oh, well, 40, definitely. It just sticks. You breathe and you gain.
It's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Our metabolism slows down.
And, women lose muscle mass, and apparently that automatically makes you gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking at a picture of my younger self, and I said, I miss the days when I was skinny. And my mom says, you were never skinny.
Horrible.
I was like, can I just... Okay, I wasn't like stick skinny, but I was skinnier.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do they feel the need to crush your own?
I don't know.
It's like you could say nothing.
I don't know what it is. It's toxic though.
Koreans love to humble
you.
And strangers love to humble you.
Yeah.
It's the most bizarre thing. Oh wait, but we have to get back to what has your husband done to offend you, or said,
done
or
or said.
Either way, that irritates you.
I mean, he doesn't really say things in. He can't really say things in jest that irritate me, or nothing that he says in joking way, because I know it's a joke.
Yeah.
Right. But he said this one thing when we were having an argument, and
that's the
worst. It was very hard for me to let go of.
That's the worst, when it's used as an attack.
Yes.
That.
Because there's some truth to it.
Yeah.
But it's like, wait, we need to unpack this out of this context when we're both emotional.
Yeah.
But it was, he said, well, don't you know that everyone is scared to talk to you? Everyone in the family is scared to talk to you. Ooh. He said, especially Bennett, our 9-year-old. And that got me because I'm like, he's
Bennett is not scared to talk to you.
No, he's not. But he's a child, and he sees me as his mom. So, yes, he does have nunchi.
Well, because you're a mom.
Right. So he is conscious about how I react, and he's getting more aware, right? And that comes naturally with development. Is he's very aware of, he will make note of, or kind of pre-calculate how I will react, I guess, before he says something. Like if I'm unpacking his lunch, I'm like, oh, you didn't eat your edamame, you didn't like it, and he's like,
because he cares about your feelings,
right?
Now,
but that's
that's growing up.
Yes. In my husband's defense, he took that back and he's apologized. He apologized for it several times, but it's one of those things where you tuck away.
Yeah.
Oh, you went there.
And context. Yes. Context is so... I hate... And I told my husband
we were both emotional at that time.
The emotions were high.
That's when, like, the low blows were coming.
And that's actually... This is how, when I get mad at my husband when we're fighting, is... I will be fighting about one thing, because I have a very short-term memory. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm like a goldfish. So when I get upset about something, I'll address it right then and there. Like, he did this annoying thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, why would you do this thing? But then he has great memory, and he'll start digging. Oh, remember that time you did this? I was like, no. You can't bring that up now. If you had issues with me about it, you should have addressed it then. But you don't get to pull out these things to come at me because now I'm bringing up a point to you. That upsets me.
Okay. That's one thing that I am learning, because I think I do that sometimes. Is in the moment I don't address it, because in the moment I think in the past I would have said something, but then it's led to an issue, so I'm going to let it go. But I haven't truly let it go if I'm bringing it up in a future argument.
You're like, tamo, and then it gets tucked away, right? And then you start getting to your boiling point.
Yes.
Remember how I always tell you you're my husband and I'm your husband? Yeah. Like, that's totally my husband's move. He has better memory than me, and I feel that's probably why your husband grabbed that tool. What did you say? What did you say that triggered him to say? What was?
I got mad at him. I didn't get mad. I got annoyed in the moment because he threw away a stack of. We were at the lake, and I had bought, every season I get ready like all the stuff that we will need for a summer at the lake, like compostable plates and all that. So we were eating dinner at the lake, and we were gathering all the trash afterwards, and I had a brand new stack of plates, but my husband had eaten dinner on the top plate of the stack of plates, and he just threw all of it out. To me, that was akawa. That was a waste. And so in my haste, I said, "Did you throw away that whole stack of plates?" And he didn't like the tone that I said that, because it was a little quippy. Yeah. I said, "Did you throw away that stack of plates?" That was a brand new stack of plates. Right. It was. And he just did not like that whole tone, that whole thing. And
that move that he did in throwing, that's something I would do.
I think whenever he does something, I'll just imagine your face on
Yes, there you go.
And then I'll say, like, that was not intentional, and
I'll be like,
give it a pass.
Just imagine this face. My husband gets it all the time.
But that was his thing. He was like, "Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even look.
칠칠맞아. Oh, like me. What would you say is an English equivalent to 칠칠맞아?
I don't know.
Like kind of like
absent-minded. No.
Like someone who kind of like something is falling out of them as they're just walking.
Oh. Like, that's a good illustration. That's a good illustration.
Like, for example, I have so many just one pair of earrings because I lose the other. Do you ever lose earrings? Not like me.
I have one time, but every time I do, it's like a thorn in my mind, Yeah. Like, I obsess over it.
Yeah. And obsessing over.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing. I don't say that as a good thing, but that's my personality. Is I can get hung up on a lot of details.
I do that all the time, and I have to, like, I've gotten so much better. I always say to myself, like, is this thing the thing you're going to be thinking about as you're in your deathbed? No. It's things,
and that's a great gauge. Like, is this going to matter?
It's so hard though. I get so fixated on, especially like losing something, particularly when it comes to my children's stuff. Like, if it's like something that I consider memorabilia, but at this point it's like everything's memorabilia,
Yes.
Like every little thing that made, you can't keep it all.
But as a mom, it's like it seems very trivial, but my mind, let's say you lose something, right? But my mind goes to the effort that it will take to then replace that.
Yeah.
And then the decision that comes with that. It's all the little minute decisions and all of that gets encompassed. Whereas my husband's very much more like, well, then replace it. Like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. That's my husband. His kind of solution is
he's
like,
let it go. Who cares? You're not even gonna, in 5 months from now, you're not even gonna think about it. And I'm like, aren't I? You don't know me. But yeah, that's one of the things. My husband has gotten better about, one of the things that he used to do that really irritated me is, like, we're ready to go somewhere and he won't move. And I'm like, running around, getting changed, doing all this stuff, and he'll be like, "I'll take a nap." now?
Yeah.
And it just would
take a nap or take a dump. Because I have
take a nap and then go. I have to go to the bathroom
right when you're gonna leave.
But then he also has a fair point. Like, but you're the one that's not ready when we're ready to go out the door. And I'm like, because I was getting ready everything else. And there's something about that. If you're getting ready to go somewhere and someone else doesn't have that same level of urgency, it just like pisses you off for no reason.
Yes, it does.
And I'm like, get on my page. Get on, see my alertness. So he has gotten better. Now,
that's good.
He's like, I'll go take a shower now. I'm like, great idea, honey. And so I will give him props for the improvement factor. What has your husband told you that you do that offends him? Is there a thing? Well, obviously tone. Tone is a big thing.
Tone is probably the biggest.
It's a trigger for him.
It's a trigger for him. And it's hard for me because I can't control it. It's
it's your Korean woman built in, like,
oh my gosh.
진짜로?
Yeah. I have to take a beat. I have to take a beat before I react. Because then I can adjust the tone.
You know what, though? You have this presence about you that's very, and I don't say this as a negative, authoritative.
I think
it's
you
your
nailed
North Korean heritage.
I think you nailed it. So the one thing he says to me, and I know there's truth to it because my friends have said this about me when we were kids.
Like regal.
No, I don't think it's that. He's just like, you think that you believe what you believe and that's it.
No. You have a presence and you have you seem like someone who knows where they're going. Whether that's true or not, you seem like someone who has a map. And I'm someone that doesn't know where the map is. But I don't think it's bad. I think every group, like family group or a couple, needs that person. And that's why you and your husband work.
Well, that person for me growing up was my dad. Was that authoritative figure. And I think I've really internalized that, or some reason, or maybe because of birth order. And
are you closer to your dad or your mom?
I'm closer to my mom because I think it's that female thing. I just talk more frequently to her. But when I talk to my dad, I feel there's kind of a mutual understanding. And I feel that I'm very similar to him in a lot of ways where, I kind of expect everybody to pull their weight.
Yes. I mean,
and if you don't, then if you don't, it's frustrating because then I have to say it. I have to explain. And for me, it's like, you should kind of already know. And to my husband's point, it's like, no, we don't know because you never set those expectations.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm, learning and working on currently. But yeah, I think there was a lot of unsaid things in my family, and that's just how we operated. Like, I do this because I'm the oldest, so I'm responsible.
You fell into
for
order
getting out the door on time.
That gave a sense of order, though, and you played your role so well.
Playing the role, so it's like everybody has a role.
Yeah.
And if you play it, then things are smooth, and when things are smooth, I don't feel the anxiety.
Yeah.
But when things aren't smooth and we have to deal with the unexpected, that's a challenge for me. And for my husband, that's not a challenge because he just is always able to be flexible and rolls with the punches. So
which is odd because we just named you Flex Mom.
I know, but Flex Mom in a sense that, so I think I have gotten a lot more flexible after becoming a mom because kids,
unexpected things.
You're raising like brand new humans. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
husband says to me, another thing that he says to me is I'm so much, I give so much more grace to the kids than I do to him. And I'm like, well, they have not been on earth as long.
Yeah. And you're a man. You're a grown ass adult. I need you to adult.
I love you.
We are partners. He's going to be like, why did you throw me under the bus? Ben, know that I am you though. So we are. I'm here taking the beating for you. You're welcome. Do you feel like you're a mom?
Do I feel like I am a mom? Or do I feel like my mom? Is that what you asked?
Oh, is that what I meant?
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of like yourself? Okay.
I wouldn't.
I used to, I thought that when I became a parent, I would understand my parents more. But when I became a parent, I resented my parents more because the way I feel towards my kids, why didn't they have that for me? I don't get it. I think it made me further away. Like I could never. One time I got really upset, and I think I wouldn't even call it spanking. I just, this was when he had a diaper too, so I pat him, but hard, right? And I guess that is like my concept of what spanking is. And I said I would never hit my kids because I was very abused. And just, it wasn't that it hurt. My child looked, what are you doing? And he looked, ogure, like, oh, like, you did this to me? Why? Like, he had never encountered it. And I could see the look of, like, he felt betrayed by me. And that look, I was like, I never again. Yeah. Like, I will try. I don't even like raising my voice, but I can't help it. You know, there's, I try not to, but I think about what my parents did. And I know, and I've given them a lot of grace for the fact that they grew up abused themselves, right? And as most of our parents did. But it made me, like, I don't know, more detached from them. And I didn't expect that. I thought it would bring me closer to them because I would understand their struggles better. But it instead did the opposite. Did you ever have that for yourself?
I think I definitely understand their perspective a little bit better.
Yeah.
And gave me an appreciation for what they had to do for us.
Yeah.
I think there are still big differences.
Right.
Like, we don't spank, but that was a normal thing for us growing up.
Yeah.
But
how do you do they get timeouts?
You know, when they were younger, they would get timeouts.
Yeah.
It was pretty infrequent because I didn't really know how to do that.
Yeah.
We didn't get time. Like, who is it for? I mean, I think it was good to have that separation. Like, I need a break and you need a break.
Yeah.
Okay. And then eventually, you know, they're young, so they don't really understand. So they'll just come out of that corner and start playing.
Yeah.
But clearly it's like, okay, that heated moment has passed. So now I can talk to them and remind them, like, we don't hit when you have a problem. You try to communicate it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would say discipline now is we just talk.
Stern talking.
But I grew up with lots of spanking and lots. I mean, I don't want to say lot, like, but it's like if I did something that I knew I was in the wrong, then I could expect a spanking, and I knew it wasn't easy for my parents to do that.
Did you ever get the stick from the window?
It wasn't the window stick. It was the end of the fly swatter. It was wire. So it was very stingy. Oh, very tagawa. It stung. Yeah. But, you know, my parents had a lot of restraint. Yeah. I remember trying to see if a mark... Calf? In the calf, the back of your calves. I remember hoping that there would be a mark the next day, because then I could call the hotline that we got at school.
Yeah, same. I wanted, but my stepmom knew mostly where to hit me, which is not sad.
It's where to hit you, where
to
it
not show. And, you know, like, it's, but with, you know, hopefully with every generation it gets better. You do, but this is why I resent parents who are like, well, you're lucky you have it better than me. I mean, there are parents even in our own age group who say shit like that, and it annoys
to their
me.
kids.
Yeah, and it's like, or you've seen those TikToks where like, oh, well, I grew up with this. Like these kids are growing up so soft. Why are you so upset that your kids are not growing up to immune to violence?
Yeah,
like you should be happy that your kids, don't like accept that as a norm. Instead, you're out here making like a TikTok about how your kids, don't have it as hard as you. Like, why would you think of that as a
right
something to brag about? That I never understood. And I think part of me also gets jealous when I see my kids, like the child in me. I'm like, oh, I wish I could laugh. I don't remember ever being able to laugh that loud and not be self-conscious. Things like that. But
yeah, I mean, I'm aware of the privileges that I grew up with, my siblings and I grew up with, because we were one generation removed, right?
Yeah.
And then now my kids have more privileges because we had that. We have the privilege of no language barrier.
Yeah.
And the kids are a lot freer to express themselves. And I didn't really, my parents spoke English and we didn't have a huge barrier, but still there was that kind of cultural barrier and the idea that you do not talk back to elders, and your parents are your elders, like you're the first elders that you should respect the most, and you just don't talk back.
Did you ever talk back?
Oh yeah, I did. When I was going through my adolescence, I did, and I would get punished for it, but yeah, I don't know if, I'm sure our time will come when we deal with that with our kids. But I feel that right now, our kids are probably much more emotionally advanced than we were at their age.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we can talk about things before they escalate to a big blow up, right? And we feel free. It's just normal for them to hear back and forth talking that's not arguing, right? Explanations, and they feel free to ask tough questions. You know,
that's funny you say that, because my husband just asked me about this, and he goes, do you notice Gavin, my older one, 11-year-old, doesn't ask you about your parents anymore?
Huh.
And he used to, because he was the only one that actually met both of them. Sawyer never had the chance to grow anything with them because I stopped talking to them when he was a baby. And Gavin used to say like, oh, 할아버지 왜 안 봐? Like, why don't we see 할아버지? Why don't we see 할머니, grandma? Because he liked them. And I always get this like pain, like, oh, like if I had only been stronger, this could still work.
Because you want that for your child.
Yeah, but he stopped asking. And out of nowhere, my husband was like, yeah, do you think he has an awareness? And I mean, when he did ask, I said, well, they get grumpy easy, and because they're sickly, and when they're grumpy, they get mad at us. So we don't want you to be around that, is how I explained it. And since then, he has not asked me.
Which is the truth, and I think that was so healthy to explain that to him at a young age.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And
I
hope it's the right thing, but
I think it's the right. I think telling the truth is always the right thing, because you can explain it in a way that's appropriate for their level of understanding. You know, but if you were to say, oh, because they live far away, or to do a white lie, it doesn't get to that. That question will come up again.
That's right. I think I started out with that, and he kept asking.
Sure.
And then it was, I think, most recently where I said, they're not happy to be around us. So it's just because they've got a lot going on, and it's the truth, but it's sort of a grain of truth,
It's a grain of truth. It's tough for you as a parent to explain that to them, because it kind of shatters that veil for them that you want to maintain because you want to protect your kids. But I think in the long run, I think they'll appreciate that you told the truth and that they were trusted with that at a young age. And that was kind of an answer that was, I think in his mind, it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to ask mom this question again, I kind of know the answer, you know? And I think they know. I mean, what I'm learning is they have much more awareness than I think they have. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's what my husband was telling me.
Yeah.
And on that note, if you have questions that you want us to discuss, particularly, I think the family questions are interesting because we're so in it. Email us at reply@replyYC.com.
That's right.
Okay. Should we do our little...
Yes. Okay, until ready? Next time. Reply.
I have to say it too.
Okay.
Okay. Until next time.
Reply.
YC.